Hello and welcome to the Access Festival. My name is Alex Chisholm and I'm one of the members of the team that's putting this festival on. Access is an arts festival focused on issues of access for people with visible and invisible disabilities, as well as equity for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. What is Access? Access is about resources, justice, information, funding, opportunity, and more. We're presenting 3 programs here. Each program has its own theme. Program number 1 is What Disability? Program number 2 is Environmental Barriers to Access, and program number 3 is Equity for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. The Gathering Place Association, in partnership with the Gathering Place Community Centre, with support from Kickstart Disability Arts, Spark BC, and the City of Vancouver are proud to present the Access Festival. And so I'd like to welcome the host of today's program.
Wow, this is amazing. Welcome to the Gathering Place and Access Festival. And I'm Gennaro O'Sullivan, also known as the Accessalist. We want to welcome you to the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish Territory. It's such a pleasure to be invited to this awesome virtual event. This is a great lineup. You know what? You are going to hear from Kari Wendell McClellan. You'll also hear from his sidekick, Noah Walker. And you'll also be able to hear some poems from moi, which means me. And guess what? You're going to get to see art by Ari. Art by Ari. It has a ring to it, doesn't it? Ari de la More. And you'll also hear a discussion with Ari, Stephen Litton, Henry Daniel, and you'll get to see these really awesome films called Love Intersection and Sinead Kennedy, and maybe share a closing ceremony, right, with Randy Tate. It's going to be awesome. You will just you are going to be amazed. I was amazed. You're going to be amazed. Check it out. Okay, so when you're using the word equity of treatment, you're talking about similar treatment, I guess, to everybody else, right? You get no different treatment, no preferential treatment or anything less, right? You are no more or no less than anybody else. You're all the same, right? Fair-mindedness. And then justness. That's what equity means. Justness. Am I getting this right? Or am I not understanding it because I am not experiencing equity in life? So that's where we are as First Nations people, Canada-wide. And we're being plagued by a system that professes to treat us with equality and equity, but have assaulted us from one settlement to another, from the residential school settlement to the day school settlement and the 60 school settlement. They have failed us and they have torn us apart, inside and out. Thank God that the world is becoming virtual, because now we can all speak and share our stories and get the word out as the oral stories that we are in our blood and in our heart. I was looking forward to talking with Kari, but due to the COVID pandemic and me wanting to take extra precautionary measures to be responsible, I decided to take it here from home. So here we are at the Access Festival together, but not together. I also really want to give my hats off, right, to Sean George for stepping up to the mic and being there for Kari during this next awesome interview. All right, I hope you're enjoying the program. Check out Kari Wendell McClellan and Noah Walker with a suite of songs made up of original and covers.
We're doing it, y'all. Hey, wherever you are right now, so good to be with you. My name is Kari Wendell McClellan. This is Noah Walker. I'm going to share a suite of songs with you. Some that I've written and others by other writers, but you know, you'll see probably a central theme going on there, and maybe it's best to let the music speak for itself. I'm gonna start with a tune called "All Got a Part to Play." Who made this world so hard? Dead presidents or somebody's God? I don't know, it's hard to say. Always easier to point and lay blame, but it feels like we all got a part to play. All got a part to play. What are we gonna do? Answer is somewhere between me and you. Fire's raging wild, water rising and there's nowhere to hide. Don't look away. We all got a part to play. All got a part to play. This is a sad old story, older than me and you. Wake up to casualties all around. Some ran for cover, some stood their ground. Don't walk away, we all got a part to play. I ain't asking you on bended knee to pretend we're some kind of happy family. I'm just trying to tell you we're all we got, and doing this together is our only shot. All got a part to play. All got a part to play. Say we all
got a part to play.
We all got a part to play.
All got a part to play.
Say we
All got a part to play.
all got a part to play. Everybody's looking for a miracle, but you know there ain't no easy way out. It's so hard being true to yourself when the system keeps tearing us apart. Have I lost my way? Have we lost our way? Won't you help me out? Ooh, won't you help me out? All I'm asking for a helping hand. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? 'Cause I'm doing the best that I can. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? some higher plan. Everybody's looking for someone to love. Yeah. Trying to find grace in this turbulent world. Yeah. It's so hard trying to find my way just to make it through another day. I'm on my knees, won't you help me out? All I'm asking for a helping hand. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? 'Cause I'm doing the best that I can. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? Noah Walker. All I'm asking for a helping hand. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? 'Cause I'm doing the best that I can. Feeling the pressure, can you understand? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? Is there a rhyme or reason, some higher plan? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody in the house and at home, wherever you may be, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean, and I would like to thank you, Kyrie.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
So I have a couple questions to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful music. Thank you again so much.
Yeah.
One question is, do you find that your skin color is a barrier in the genre that you're doing? And if so, how?
I mean, I feel like, if we live in a society that is formed in a history of racism and, slavery, segregation, a lot of people don't want to really recognize Canada's own history of slavery. Slavery was abolished in Canada just 30 years before it was in the United States. And, when you have the foundations of a country that are based on, removing indigenous people from their land, not allowing Black people to live freely and fully as full human beings, then, that legacy lives on through all the institutions that it occupies. And, these things are subtle. But yeah, definitely, I would say in the music industry, race is a thing in terms of, because marketing is a thing, and, things are often marketed to who people see as the middle, and the middle often looks like a white person or a white, family or what have you. And, often people that are quite talented but don't fit what things should look like don't get opportunities. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Amazing. One follow-up question is, being who you are and where you're from and your ethnicity, how does that affect your writing to your music and things that way?
I mean, I feel like I write a lot, and I choose to cover songs that are talking about struggle and challenge. And I feel like, that's a direct result of living in a world where I recognize the struggle. that people face in a way that might be a little bit different if I didn't, grow up the way I did and look the way I do. So, yeah, it's there, and I want to share and communicate that to the world.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. We'll hear more from Kari and Nora in the rest of the program. Thank you guys again.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I'm proud of who I am. I'm not afraid to hide it anymore. My name is Dwayne Stewart. I am from the Haisla and Nuu-chah-nulth Nation. I was born and raised in Kitimat Village. My Haisla name is Jahid, and I am from the Raven clan. The way I was taught, being two-spirited means that I have both the male and female spirit in me, so I hold power from both spirits. I first realized I was gay when I was 9. I was really scared and confused. For me, it was really hard for me to feel comfortable telling other people. Just hearing the comments other people were making about gay people. But when I was in high school, I took part in a project called Starring Your Own Stories. Through that project, myself and 11 other youth in my community, we had the opportunity of taking little movie we made through that project. We were able to travel mostly through BC. A couple of us got to go over to Toronto, and through those travels, I was able to meet so many people, a lot of them being two-spirited themselves. Just talking to them and hearing their stories, it really gave me that courage to start coming out to other people and to really start feeling comfortable with being who I am. After I had graduated, I finally decided that I was ready to tell my parents. When I was finally ready to tell them, it was actually my mom who approached me, and she told me that she actually knew right from when I was a little boy. She always knew, and that she was always waiting for me to come out to her. And she said that she would always love me. Sorry. It's always hard to tell that one. She said she'd always love me no matter what. And she'd support me. She'd be there for me. And that was just like a huge weight off of my shoulders. I'm to that point now where I'm not ashamed to show my pride. I work with Mike D'Angeli. He's a Nisga'a artist. My relation to Mike is through adoption. I've adopted him as my uncle. His studio is based out of the Aboriginal Friendship Center here in Vancouver, and him and his wife have taken me on as their apprentice, and through the dance group as well. He's training me to be a leader so that someday if I decide to start my own group, I'll have his teachings and on how to be a leader in the dance group. So I find culture to be very important to me because it's something that we almost lost through residential school. And culture is who I am. I grew up not learning my language because a lot of my elders didn't know how to speak it because of residential school. And so growing up, it showed me that my culture is important, that it should be important to me. It should be a part of my life. The pride flag on my regalia, showing the two spirits on my regalia, I feel it's kind of helping those who aren't out to anyone, showing them that there's Aboriginal people who are queer as well. The only difference is our skin. They shouldn't be scared to be themselves. Being myself has totally opened up so many doors for me. I felt that as a youth, I could be one of those role models to the next generation and show them that our culture doesn't have to go with us. It will continue through us.
My name is Gennardie O'Sullivan. When I was 16, I went to Blanche McDonald's modeling school. I learned how to be a model, how to practice etiquette, and I got these pictures done. They're called compositions. I went to Australia with my adopted mom, and she encouraged me to go to a model agency. I went in reluctantly because I was very shy back then. Not anymore, but back then. When I went into the agency, I was told quite blatantly that they did not have ethnic people in their roster because we were not popular. That was the first time I had ever realized that I was actually going to be living a life of inequality with no equity. And so here I am, still alive, still thriving, trying my best to be visible in every way, trying to create platforms for others so that they can have a voice. So we might become visible through poetry, through filmmaking, through radio production, through animation, through comedy, through songs, through singing, through drumming, through dancing, however we want. It's important to be visible. To have that voice is to have a life. Anyway, so I got some poetry in this book. One of them is called Who I Am to Be. If you ever get a chance to read it, you got to read it. It reminds me of that film that I saw, about regalia and two spirits. And I thought that was brilliant as well. So I found my voice in 1990. I did this poem called Aboriginal Original. And in this poem, it really talks about inequality and what it's like to be colonialized and to lose land and to lose your children. So I'll just start you off with that. I am a certain kind of a person, an Aboriginal original. And though some, they treat me like a criminal, I have had my chances. Chances my type rarely get. Not to worry. Don't you feel sorry as others appoint their form of punishment to those just like me. Just like me. We are never the same. My type, we're different. A mysterious sort. Yes, we are a threat. Always have been and always will be. I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. Some rights for you and no rights for us. Right? 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 No. Our questions are alive, and so am I. Yet you continue to evade what we have to say. Should we all be like you? Like you, 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 the man who takes all he can. from Aboriginal land to Aboriginal girl. Aboriginal girl still suffers from things being done. And now the land is suffering too. You took for miles and 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 miles. Aboriginal girl still suffers from things being done. It's all in fun. It's all in fun. But now Mother Earth is hard to find. So where do you stand? Where do you stand? You are standing on Aboriginal land. You're standing on Aboriginal land. So where do you stand? I can't hear you. Where do you stand? So I came up with another poem recently, last year actually. I wrote this poem and it got published in Salt Check. I see you there representing the people. You barely Indian at all. Or is it I am too Indian and should just crawl away and die? I see you there representing the people. When you barely even know yourself. Causing a destruction about protocols and appropriation. I see you there hugging all the stories to yourself. I see you there taking credit for all the Indians, as you ride in on your Indianness, telling us how to live. I see you there sitting on council, shining your civil ideas upon us. Your little Indian being called upon. I see you there sitting. I see you there sitting on council. Yes, I do. I see you there playing me on TV. Playing me like the old days. Playing me berets and in a teepee. Playing me hard. Oh yeah. Or maybe as a leader or a gang, or maybe a corrupt, I don't know, chief. I see you there playing me for everything I am worth. I see you there playing me until you're all played up and discarded like yesterday's Indian. I see you there. All right, so I'm going to thank every single one of these artists that have been performing here for this Access Festival, because not only does it get you through it, but it also, your words, your singing, your productions, the images, your perspective can help people through mountains of obstacles. And this painting right here is a testimony to that very fact. This painting was done by Smokey D. At the top of the painting, it says East Vandals, and then it's got a picture of a dude with a gun and a graffiti paint, like spray can. And then it's got the words blam, 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 blam. And then on the bottom of this graffiti piece, this masterpiece by Smokey D, it says, where we are at is if you are soft, you are lost. I have invited you to my corner of the world where I live most of my life. This painting got me through the first, the second, and now the third wave of the pandemic. That's how powerful your voice can be and how powerful visibility and equality can be. It can heal us all and keep us all together in a tight little bubble. Thank you to Smokey D.
In my wildest dreams, what I could imagine is not a colorblind society. I don't want that. And I think that sometimes that is people's knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I'm colorblind. I don't see color. Well, no, I love my color. I'm proud to be Black. I love it. Like, this melanin's popping. Like, I'm excited by that. But what I want is for people to see me as Black and value that as much as white, as much as Asian, as much as Hispanic, as much as every other color under the sun.
For us, the importance of having a Black Lives Matter chapter in Vancouver is difficult, and we've had a lot of conversations within the collective about, like, is there a need for us? Do we need to exist? Is there a community who wants to have a chapter in Vancouver? And I think in a lot of other cities it's more obvious, like, you know, there is a large Black population, there is racism, there is police brutality, so it seems obvious. And in Vancouver there's a lot of questions around, you know, why do you guys need to exist? I think our biggest struggle is being so few. We have so much trouble, like, trying to find other people like us, trying to find other people we can share our histories, our culture, our stories with. And there is a very specific history of erasure in this city, erasure of Black communities. Like, where we are right now in Strathcona used to be like a huge thriving Black community, but then it was kind of wiped away by gentrification and, like, development of the city. And so, yeah, it's really important for us to make people aware of that history and also try to rebuild those communities, try to bring everybody back together. Saying Black Lives Matter is not an attempt to erase other communities, and it's not an attempt to say, no, other lives don't matter. It's an affirmation that, and a reminder that Black lives matter as much as everyone else. It's just that the way our society is shaped, the government, the media, the police system, makes it seem like Black lives are less worthy.
We are a team of about 8 beautiful women who are predominantly Black, people of color, and we came together in a very interesting way. A friend of ours, one of the people on the team, who actually lives in Toronto, has been involved with Black Lives Matter Toronto, and she realized that things were happening there that she wanted us to see if there was solidarity on this side of the country. And so she reached out to us and we decided, yeah, there is solidarity. We want to have solidarity here.
I think we're really trying to center the lives of and experiences of those who are marginalized within the margins. So it's really important for us to not just say, oh, we're inclusive of all identities, but we actually want to lift up the voices of folks who are Black and identify as queer or trans or other marginalized lived experiences. We are aware that we do have a lot of privilege living in this city. We do, a lot of the racism that we experience is not necessarily violent, although still harmful, but, you know, not as dangerous as living in, like, a city in the US where you could be shot by the police for just, I don't know, going through a red light or something. And so we want to just visibilize Black communities in this city, and we want to stand in solidarity with Black communities elsewhere.
Hey!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our program. I'm sitting here with Ari De La Mora. Ari, do you want to introduce yourself to us a little bit? Tell us about your artwork.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Ari De La Mora. I'm a painter. I am from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico City, and then I moved here to Vancouver, Canada. I've been here for 15 years already. And I'm a painter. I've always been an artist since I was a little kid. My mom says that I was born with a pencil in my hand. So I always love art and express myself and culture. And then when I moved here, it took me about 10 years to actually take the career as an artist and to actually believe in myself as an artist. But once I start, it's just like, can't stop.
Yeah.
So I'm a painter.
And your work is very culturally based. Can you talk about that a bit?
Well, it's just I try to represent myself. I start representing myself as a way to find my place in a new place, if you may say, in a new society. So I try to start representing my culture, and also as a way of feel connect with something. Because I feel it's something that happened to many immigrants. When you move to a different place, you feel like you are not back from home, but you're still not from this place. You're kind of like limbo for a little bit. So that's how I use my art as a way of connection. First, to connection to my homeland, and then start to move as a connection to this new place and this syncretism, to incorporate your culture with the Canadian culture, you may say, and how I see it from my point of view. So that's why I try to represent that. I paint what I paint, and I always do it through a lens from woman perspective.
Yeah, it's excellent. And it comes across in your work, I really do
Good,
believe
good.
that. Yeah, it does.
Great.
As a person who is a person of color who has come here to a different country, have you encountered any barriers, cultural different barriers?
Yes, especially with my culture, there's a Mexican culture. I think one of my biggest barriers has been stereotypes and this implicit bias of what people think they know about your culture, which is usually not that correct, because what they know from culture as mine, as Mexican culture, is what they've seen on TV or what they see on the news. And it's usually not just like that. In my experience, when you mention Mexican culture, I'm from Mexico, it goes from entertainment, just pure entertainment, or this dangerous place with drug lords, and you are so lucky to be here and escaping from all that danger. So I've seen, in my perspective, has been stereotypes, the biggest barrier.
And how has that affected, how has that gotten in your way after you've moved here, or has it at all?
It's when you ask for opportunities, especially when you are an artist, when you are a painter, and then you ask for places where to put your work, or when you ask for opportunities, and when you identify yourself as a Mexican painter or a painter that is about culture and about culture and about Mexican culture, kind of like. And again, on my perspective, I'm speaking from me, kind of put you like in a low category, like, oh, well, no, it's just, even once I had a curator who told me, oh, it's just too Mexican.
That's pretty terrible.
Yes.
I'd like to bring a few other people into this discussion, and we'll continue it.
Sure.
Thank you. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our program. Joining us is Henry Daniel next to me, and Stephen Litton on the end. And Henry, can you just give us a little introduction to yourself and what you do?
Yes, my name is Henry Daniel. I'm a professor of dance, performance studies, and new media technologies at Simon Fraser University School for the Contemporary Arts. My background, I was born in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, trained in the US, worked in Germany, in the UK, and here am I in Canada.
Thank you. Stephen.
My name is Stephen Litton. I was born with a disability, and I didn't realize I had a disability until it was forced upon me. And I've moved to Vancouver because the opportunities were greater in the city than they were in the rural community. Had I not left the community with my mother's blessing and allow me to blossom and fly and be the person I am, I would either be drunk, dead, or pitied. I didn't want neither. I didn't want neither of those options. So here I am today, sharing what gifts I have to share with community, and how do we give our disabled community a hand up through reconciliation from our perspective.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you both for joining the discussion that Ari and I have already started. And we've started a discussion about equity, living in our community as an individual of color. And I'd like to just open the broadest question of, what does equity mean to you? Anybody can jump in on that.
I think for me, we'll see to be seen for what you can offer, for your talent, versus the way that you look, without these assumptions that we're talking about before, without this implicit bias. It's just to see what are you offering, what is this proposal that you have to give. I think that's, for me at least.
When we look at equity from my perspective, with regards to race, what is equity? Is it across the board? Are we on equal terms? Do we deal with equity differently if we're from different cultures, different races, and even within our own community, do we see equity different? And how does equity affect women as opposed to how does it affect men? Is it different? Does equity work on privilege or does it not?
Well, you've asked me a bunch of questions. Do you want to address any of those? Because there's great points that you're making.
No, I'll just leave it there for the next question.
Thank you. Henry, thoughts?
I mean, I think what you've been saying is a really very interesting point. Equity changes depending on the category, and it all shifts so quickly that it's a very, very difficult term to define. I think you have to sort of be specific whenever you're in a particular context. If you're talking about race, that's one thing. If you're talking about privilege, economic privilege, that's another thing. There's so many different perspectives to it that you have to be careful how you define it. And I think it has to be within a particular kind of category before you start.
As individuals here of color, can you address how that possibly affects your daily life from an equity point of view?
Well, already you say individuals of color with three different categories of color, yeah. So again, if you want to talk about equity, I'm Black Afro-Caribbean person, Here we have a wonderful indigenous Mexican, and we have an indigenous Canadian. So as soon as we start talking about equity and race, you're in three completely different categories here. But I think one, if I would give a very broad definition of equity, I would say we all wish we would be treated as we are, for who we are, and that is not often the case.
Yes, people.
As people.
Exactly.
Human beings.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the term, we were speaking before, specifically the term you pointed out now, individuals of color, persons of color, that's a term that is so commonly used now. How do you think we can get past, from a societal point of view, of categorizing in the way that I just did, and how do we get past that as a community, as a collective of human beings?
It's just, I think it's difficult because we have normalized these things. I mean, I grew up with these terms of differentiation people from in Mexico, from the the Asians, we call it chinos or yellow skin or people from indigenous background. So we kind of differentiate, we separate in groups, and I grew up with that. So I guess for me it was normal. And for the rest of the people, we normalize all this difference. So now we kind of need to learn again how to get together with it, like in general, because we have normalized this inequality.
When I look at equity as well, when you're looking at it, your own community, it impacts us far greater than mainstream because we're of a different culture, we're of different nations, and we all look at equity different. And it really depends on where you are. Location is key when you're addressing equity. It may differ from one nation to another, one community, and some may be further ahead with equity than others. I've never really had an opportunity to address equity, but right here, because I don't think in those terms, although I realize today that we're always involved in equity or whatever we're dealing with, we're involved with it directly. It's impacted us 4 times greater than that of the normal population. And then when you're looking at equity, you're also looking at economics. And if you're not getting the same across as mainstream, the same resources as mainstream, you look at equity different.
Thoughts, Henry? Any thoughts about this?
Well, I mean, I think based on what Maury said about, being treated as human beings, and she used a very interesting word. She says we have to relearn or we have to learn again. And I think that's the key, really, because we've been use the term again, normalized. Everything has, its own kind of repercussions and resonances. We have to relearn, and I think one of the best ways to do that is really get to know people. I mean, if you've never moved out of your own environment, you don't know what other people look like, think like. And when you move a lot, you get to realize, and again, I think I overheard some of the conversation before about living in so many different places that at a certain point there's this kind of nomadic feeling. I think when you get to that point and you realize that this concept of belonging, it gets very, very, very complex. But at the same time, it allows you to understand a lot more people, because you empathize with them, you get to know them, and you see that they have some of the same concerns, a lot of the same concerns that you have.
When I also look at equity, I'm looking at it from a perspective of why do we always have to appease Canada when we talk about these issues? Why do we not trade in learning together? How do we build that sense of reconciliation? How do we build equity? How do we learn from the best within our societies, regardless of what society we're from or nation we're from?
So I'm going to bring COVID into this discussion a bit because it seems to have impacted everything so much. How do you feel COVID has impacted all of this that we're talking about, equity particularly?
Well, in terms of arts and culture, we are not considered a necessity. So I think in our perspective has been more difficult it has been difficult for everybody, but I'm talking from the arts and culture perspective. Yeah, has been tough. Even though we are not considered a necessity, see how much more people is watching movies or listening to music or going on stream and even watching plays on the internet. We need art. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd follow up on that. Art is essential to our survival during these times because we're locked down. Everywhere we turn, we're told what to do. We're told when to do it, how to do it. and the fear factors of the unknown are impacting our mental state. And there are very few of us that have this option of being involved directly in art and presenting it this way. There are others out there that don't have that opportunity. So how can we give them a hand up through our art and really address some of the impacts it's having on their lives?
Mm-hmm. I think that there are a couple of things that caught my attention when you mentioned COVID-19 and its relationship, for example, to notions of equity. And one thing I thought immediately about is some of the instances of privilege that have been on the news. You know, who can travel? How far up in the government do you have to be to ignore all the instructions that you are given? How much money do you need to have to be able to escape the restrictions that ordinary people have? So I find it really interesting how we all would like to think that we are equally quarantined, but that's not the case.
Yeah. At all. Yeah, at all.
Another thing that I'd like to share about COVID is that we don't have the opportunity to know who is dealing with COVID, who's had COVID. We don't even have a chance to see whether or not they've died. When you talk about bereavement and going to funerals, there's only 9 allowed to go, and that has an impact on our well-being itself, because we don't get to say the goodbyes that we want to.
Yeah, yeah. You're all creators. How has COVID benefited you? And I say that from a creative point of view.
I like the term you use. How has it benefited you? Okay. So
I'm still processing the question.
I guess the reason I asked that question is because so many of us as creative people are isolated right now, and people are either flourishing or they're dying.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering how you are all as creators dealing with that.
No, I like the fact that you use the term benefit, because of course it's we also
not all negative.
We also restricted. I think, for example, with me, one of the things that I feel I'm in I use the word privileged position. I have a lot of young students who I teach online, and I'm also in the studio face-to-face with a few of them. I teach synchronously in the studio and online. And the work, the amazing kind of work that I see these young students coming up with, it blows my mind. And, you know, in an environment where we think of, there are professional people, and then there are students, and then there are those who are coming up. The kinds of work that I see coming out from these young students is absolutely amazing. And I really feel very blessed to be able to witness that at this time.
That's great.
Yeah. They're being extremely creative, extremely innovative, and they're coming up with things that I feel somehow they would not have come up with in a normal, quote-unquote, context.
For me, the arts play a major role in my well-being during these challenging, eerie times. That it's motivated me, it's invigorated me, it's given me a new look at life, it's given me opportunities that would never have come forward had it not been for COVID. Like there are a lot of people that are struggling because they don't have access to media. They don't have access to whatever outlets they want to use to connect. And one of the things that the arts have done for me is connection. And it's revitalized who I am in looking at the arts from a different perspective.
Ari?
I will say creativity. I think when things turn difficult, you get more creative. It's just as an act of survival. Just or you get creative and find a way, or to find a way. So creativity. Mm-hmm.
So that's the end of our discussion. I want to thank you all for your insights and your input today. It's really appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We just
Thank
got
you.
started. Brilliant.
That's right, Stephen.
It's good to be with you all. Talking about you, and all the people, you know, the tech staff, everybody with Gathering Place that's making this happen. It's just good to be out the house a little bit, you know? I feel like most of the people who are going to see this have had to deal with what COVID has meant for so many of us. You know, a restriction on our freedom, an inability to connect in the ways that feel good for us. And, you know, this next song is born out of a similar kind of feeling, a feeling of not really being able to get free in the way you want to. And these lyrics were actually written in the 1800s, you know, a good portion of this song, and I kind of filled in the rest with a little bit more of a contemporary spin, but it's called Song of the Agitators. And it was actually published in the first black press, or one of the first black presses in all of Canada in Southern Ontario. And it's really sharing, you know, this idea that, you know, none of us are free till all of us are free. And to see injustice, I should say, as an agitation, something that we shouldn't stand for, something that should make us all feel uncomfortable. And, you know, the thing that's great about this song is that it's way better if I actually have y'all sing with me. So whether you're at home or you're in the studio right now, I want to hear you say, We're going to do that again. Here we go. We're going to try that one more time. I think they got to know. Cease to agitate, we will, when the slave whip sound is still. When no more on guiltless limb, fetters cut their circlet grim. When no more hounds thirst for blood, scouring the thorny Georgian woods. When no more a mother's pleading prayer quivers on the southern air. On that day, we will be family equal, born and free. Dawn will come, night will cease. We'll rejoice, minds at ease. For that day we'll work and wait. That's when we'll cease to agitate. That's when we will cease to agitate. That's when we will cease to agitate. That's when we will cease to agitate. Well, here we are today, still pushing for equal pay. And these treaty rights don't hold. They're shiny like the Judas gold. And the stain of blood still remains, a mother's only son slain. And our youth are crying out for more, continually being ignored. On that day, we will be family equal, born and free. Dawn will come, Night will cease, we'll rejoice, mind at ease. For that day will work and wait. That's when we'll cease to agitate. That's when we will cease to agitate. That's when we, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when we will cease to agitate. That's when we will cease to agitate. Yeah. That's when we'll cease to agitate. When justice reigns supreme over every hill and valley. This next song is a song by an author who, was constantly breaking the rules around gender. Also had a very political kind of understanding of the music industry. I remember seeing him on an MTV interview asking them why they didn't play black music on MTV, why it was relegated to the wee hours of the night. He's somebody who was both a maverick but also stood for something. He wasn't just sort of pomp and stance. He was also, trying to live those values, I think. And also a kind of prophetic voice. Somebody who could see a bit into the future at some of the challenges we might be facing. And one of the issues that people don't often think about when they think about environment is that, often the challenges that people will face as a result of what we're facing around environment will disproportionately fall on people who are racialized, people who are poor. And so I think this song is a fitting song for us to think about. It's called 5 Years, and the author is David Bowie. Pushing through the market square, so many mothers sighing. The news had just come over. We had 5 years left to sighing. News guy wept and told us Earth was really dying. He cried so much his face was wet. That's when I knew he was not lying. I heard telephones, opera house, favorite melodies. I saw boys, toys, electric irons, and TVs. My brain was like a warehouse, no room to spare. Had to get rid of everything, had to put it somewhere. And all the tall, short people, and all the skinny, fat people, all the nobody people, and all the somebody people. I never thought I'd need so many people. We got 5 years stuck on my eyes. 5 years, what a surprise. 5 years, my brain hurts a lot. 5 years, that's all we got. age went off her head. Hit some tiny children. If this black man wouldn't have pulled her off, well, I think she might have killed them. A soldier with a broken arm stares at the wheels of a Cadillac. A cop knelt and kissed the feet of a priest, and a queer threw up at the sight of that. I saw you in that ice cream parlor. You were sipping milkshake so cold and long. Yeah, yeah. You were smiling and waving. You were looking so good. I didn't even think you knew you were in this song. It was cold and it rained and I felt like an actor. I miss Pa. Ma, I wish I could get back there. Your face, your race, the way that you walk. I love you, you're beautiful. I want you to talk. We got 5 years stuck on my eyes. 5 years, what a surprise. 5 years, my brain hurts a lot. 5 years, that's all we got. We got 5 years stuck on my eyes. 5 years, what a surprise. 5 years, my brain hurts a lot. 5 years, that's all we got. I'm going to do a couple more songs for you. This next tune is called Roll On, and, you know, I know that, you know, for people who are racialized in the society and who deal with, you know, the kind of oppression that results from racism and racist systems, that you will need a kind of perseverance in your life. You'll need a kind of resilience, a way to keep moving forward when things get hard. And this is one of those songs that I kind of wrote for myself when I was feeling a little bit low and I needed something to help me keep moving, keep rolling on. Let's get into it. I sang my song to the river in the valley below, in the hopes it might wash away my sorrow. Did as I was told by the people of old. Roll on, roll on, roll on, roll on, roll. You could almost die. Roll on, roll on. Even though it's hard to know, roll on, hold on, roll. Even though it's hard to know, roll on. Hold on, roll on. sorrow, in the hopes it might wash away my sorrow. And as I walked away, I heard the river clearly say, roll on, roll on, roll on. Even though it's hard to know, you gotta roll on, roll. Even though I know it gets hard sometimes, but you gotta roll. Hold on, roll. Even though it's hard to know, gotta roll, roll on, roll. Even though I know it gets hard sometimes, you gotta roll on, roll on. Thank you, everyone that's here and everyone that's out there. It's really been a pleasure to spend some time with you. This next tune is a familiar one. It's by another writer who not too long ago passed. You know, it's sort of about like neighborly concern. It's sort of like what it means to be a good community member. And I think there's this thing about, you know, just showing up for one another. And so when we see people that are struggling, no matter what their struggle is, you know, for some people it's around housing, there's an overdose crisis that's happening, you know, it might be around poverty, could be around racism, could be around misogyny, sexism, it could be around gender, could be around homophobia, but the idea is just generally when you see somebody who is being put upon and you see somebody who needs a hand, you know, try to be there for one another. And I think that's what the Gathering Place is trying to do right here, trying to create a space where we can be together and we can lean on one another. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, then we'll know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Now please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you that you won't let go. You just call on me, sister, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. And I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Now if there is a load that you had to bear that you can't carry, well, I'm right up the road, Strathcona. I'll share your load if you just call me. All together say, call me. Come on. Call me when you need a hand. Won't you call me? Won't you call me? Yeah. Call me. One more time. Call me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks to everybody at home and everybody here in the studio. Appreciate you.
Hello, my name is Emma Otson. I come from the Niskanen Nation, and I come from the house of Wilson Spilt and the house of Dawamuk. I'd like to thank the people of this wonderful territory we're on, the people of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Squamish, and the Musqueam. It is a great honor to be here on their unceded territories, their beautiful lands. And with saying that, I'd like to share a song with you. It's called the Niska Peace Song. It's to bring peace amongst each other. Yangwa danis go danasi I Yangwa danis go danasi E-I-O 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 Oh, holy, oh, E-I-O Oh. Toyek at need, Toyek at need. What I have here is some very sacred eagle down, which I will bless this whole area. It'll bring prosperity and protection and love.
Wow. Thank you so much, Randy, for that lovely closing. And thank you, everyone, for viewing our programs. This is the end of our last program, so thank you for being here. Goodbye.